and welcome to Gunnar Weiskamp's Web Development. We're into lesson 2 here, C#, namespaces and classes is what we're going to have a look at. Some introductory tutorials to get you up and going. We will look at what are namespaces and how they work. Secondly, a brief introductory to classes. So let's do that. Now, the interface that you're going to see, we created in the last tutorial, so please view that, and yeah, it'll make sense. We built briefly here, I'll sort of show. So file, new project, and we've got here a console app, and all you do is go on console app. I've got framework 4.5 there. I am working in 2013. The latest version is working a bit slow on my PC. But enough talk. So here in our file structure, we've just got a pretty simple file structure here. You will need to add this class folder. That's new compared to the last tutorial, and you'll have to add this text file folder as well. So here, this is our class folder here, and in this guy lives this piece of code, as you can see. So how do you add a piece of code or a code file, or in this way commonly called as the class? All you do is you right click there, this class interface comes up here, you enter in the name. So I've got complete contact data, so you put in there complete contact data, and then you simply press add. So that's all I've done for that, and then you will get this complete contact data over here. As you can see, that's come up. So I will get rid of this guy as well to try to explain namespaces completely. Let us grab some initial code. So if we bring this guy up here, okay, I'm going to strip this down a little bit to explain the first concept. So, oops, yes, what have I done here? Oops, yeah, okay, I know what I've done. Sorry, live demo, yes. Completely. Oh, God damn it. Come back here. Okay, it's sometimes better to look. I should have just grabbed that piece of code. Yeah. No, still no good. Yes. Okay. Good old live demos. Public contact data. Okay, so here I am. I'm just making a class, which is not really part of this demo. It is, sorry, I'm all over the shop. You might be wondering how you can get this piece of code or this code sheet to interact with this code sheet. See, so we've got a object here which is class. Now if we want to use that process in here, you'd normally think you'd go in here, let's just downsize this, you'd go in here and go data equals new, and that way, that object is now, you can use that here in this code sheet, which resides in here. But you're missing a piece because you're getting this big red line that says the type or namespace complete contact data could not be found. This guy can't see this guy. So what you do is you bring him into the world. So our solution is called variables. So you go variables dot where the class folder lies in, and this guy lies this class folder here. So this is the level, first level, second level, and that's our third level. Now we've brought him into the world, into this guy's world, and this guy can now use that class. So that's sort of the concept of namespaces and bringing them in. A namespace is here, that's our keyword, and a namespace allows code to be better organized and allows certain things to be in certain areas. So anything in here now that we write, at least in this case, without getting too technical, we can use in here. Because we brought this namespace into this project by using the using keyword. So once we've used that bit of code, we can use that code in there, and we've brought that namespace into this solution here. So that's sort of step one. If we now go and grab some other bits of code snippets here, we're starting to talk about classes here now. So I guess you're wondering, what is a class? That's a good question. A class is an object which you can hold many different things in to make the whole process simpler. So you've got your complete contact data here. So this class will have complete contact data about, you know, a person. It'll hold the structure of the information. Right now we've only declared its basic components, and this is called this here is a constructor of this class. Constructors run when this class is first created, and you can do a number of things within a constructor. In this case, we're just saying this constructor has started. We're going to put a message up. So when this runs here, this guy will run. This guy will get its information from this guy, the message, and that message can then be displayed on the screen. I'm going to grab another bit of code which hopefully will make this a bit easier to understand. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so here we go. So here's our constructor. We're just working with our constructor here. So when this piece of code runs here, we start her up. Our message here will be constructor started. That's our message that'll come out. Now we're changing the constructor message. Constructor finished in here, and that message constructor finish will come up in there. Now you might look at these two guys here and wonder, one's called public and one's called private. What's all that mean? So you might notice here we can call this parameter or this guy from this class out and use it. Now if we try to use the message guy, we try to use this parameter here in this world here and say give it a give it some information. It can't. Big red line. Why? It's because this variable here in this class is private. There's a big distinction between private and public. That means this parameter in this class can only be used in this class here directly, and that's why we can use it in here, but we cannot use it over here in another area of the code. So he's private, you can't use him over there, but he's public, as we can see here, so we can use the constructor message on our window here. So with these public and private keywords, what that allows you to do, it allows you to hide certain things or make things public within your code's construct. And when you're developing complex classes, there are sometimes certain layers that you might want to just leave in here, and there are other layers that you might want to expose into the broader part of your code. So we need to take that out before we compile it. Let's give that a run. So that's a little bit about parameter accesses in classes. In other words, talking about public and private access. And as you can see here, we've got our messages come up. When the constructor started, we got that message there, that was set, and then we change it to constructor finished. So that's that part of things done. Okay, so that sort of touched on constructors and classes. If we now get something a little bit more complicated. Oh boy, okay, right. We will grab him. Good, yep, that looks good. Okay. Then I'm going to grab this guy here. This is for our main environment here. Okay, we'll go from left to right. So now we've added a few things onto our initial class, our complete contact data class. So these members are still the same, but we've added here a new class. What I'm showcasing here is you can create classes within a class if so needed, if your design is needed. So what you're breaking up your logic here, which sometimes does help with your programming. So this class is created in this class. We create a reference of it here so that we can use this parameter in our other world over here, which I'll talk about in 2 seconds. Down further below, we've got another class coded. He's in this namespace. So address data is in this namespace. And he's got 2 members. Make a note of this. One's public and one's not. So that's going to be an interesting thing. The complete contact data can get access to this guy because he's inheriting the address data. Inheritance plays a big factor within using classes. What that means is by using this little special character here and then putting this after that, this guy here can inherit all of his functionality. So he can get at the house number and the street address. Yeah, so that's how that works. That's a new process called inheritance. I just want to check on something because I don't want to tell a lie. No, I believe that's correct. Let's go with that anyway. The great thing of live tutorials. Anyway, okay, righto. So here on our right we have a class being created, and here is the first level. So that's this guy here. Now we've got this guy here, and he's referring to this guy over here, that level, which in turn is working with these factors here. And you can see we can get the first name and the last name, and we can set them. All good. Now I've blanked this one out, so privates. So now this guy here, if we put him back in the mix, he becomes a big red. Why? Because he's declared private, and we cannot access him in this sort of manner. So the computer just will say no. So that's a big no-no. So house number, he's referenced from somewhere else. Oh yeah. So he's in our address data over here, and he's public, so we can get at him. But notice we're getting at him via the use of inheritance. So he's on a different level there. So this guy can directly get to this parameter here because he's inheriting all his parameters, which is what I was getting at. And I'm glad I'm correct. So anyway, so now if we try to bring in the street address of this guy here, we get a big red error. Why? Because he's by default private. You're saying there's nothing there. By default, if you don't say if it's public or private or other ones, it's going to say it's going to be by default private, and that's what this will probably say. Is inaccessible. Whoops. Whoa. Is inaccessible due to its protection level. and that means it's private. And that's why we cannot use this guy here, because, yeah, again, he's private. Said that a few times. Right, so we've touched there on inheritance, which is this logic here. We've touched about creating classes within classes, and their access processes and levels, whether something's private or public. There are other access levels like protected. So there's a keyword called protected, which can be used as well. That's a sort of halfway mechanic. Certain parts of your code can get him, certain parts can't. So he sort of like acts as a halfway house. There are other things you can seal your classes. So classes and the level that you can access them, whether they're public or private, that sort of logic. There's a number of different things that you can still do with it. But public, private, and probably protected is what you'll find you'll commonly use when granting access to your parameters in your classes. That's enough talk. Let's give that a whirl and just see if things come up correctly there. We should have Tom, Wills, and number 1 come up. Pretty simple stuff, and as you can see there, all the information is correct. Okay, so lastly, we'll talk back about namespaces. Okay, right, we'll grab this guy, get rid of that, and we will get rid of this, because we're not going to use it, so, but just makes everything a bit cleaner. Put him in, and we will get this piece of code here. Now for this code to work, you'll need to add over here a text file, which I've put in there. You can put any text you want in there. I've just put in message 1, message 2, message 3. And so now, over here, more about namespaces. So I put this piece of code in here. What this does is you're bringing in certain functionality from the .NET world, and this piece, system.io, deals with the reading, writing, and manipulation of files. When you bring this guy in here, you can do lots of magical stuff with text files and other sorts of files. So that's what we mean by namespaces. By you bring in what you need, which makes the whole program a lot simpler and makes it run faster. So if I need to read a text file, I can bring this namespace in here, and then I can get all this magic stuff here. As you can see, the file, this object here, resides there. It says there in the system.io.file. Without bringing this in, if we just get rid of it, we'll see this will break, because he's lost his daddy and mummy. He or she resides in there, if that makes sense. What we're just going to do here is demonstrate that we're going to read this text file that I showed you over here, and then just show it on the screen. So let's run that. There we go, there's our message 1, message 2, message 3, which is in our text file there, as we can see. Oops, whoa, what's happened here? Oh, too much action. And, oh, god damn it. Don't you love when these sort of things happen? Yeah, so there's our messages come up via the program in there. So that was a brief talk about namespaces, and bringing them in to your solutions, and a demonstration of an existing namespace that does lots of magical stuff, the file IO, and a little bit of a talk about classes, class inheritance, and the public and private accesses that you can use with classes as well. Yeah. So, whoops. God. So I hope you got something out of this. I did enjoy bringing it to you. Please visit my website there and feel to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Thank you.